This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, I'm going to have Shabbos Rabosai as we prepare for Parshas, Bechukosai. In the end of the Teichacha, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, V'zacharti es brisi Yaakov, I will remember the covenant of Yaakov, Ve'af es brisi Yitzchak, Ve'af es brisi Avraham eskar v'ha'aretz eskar. I'll remember the covenant with the forefathers, and I will remember the covenant of the land. And if we pay close attention to this pasuk, we will notice that the word Yaakov is spelled in an unusual way. Mole. That the word Yaakov is spelled Mole with a Vav. And Rashi picks up on this immediately. Why is Yaakov spelled Mole with a Vav? Says Rashi, this is not the only place. There are many places. B'chamisha mekoymos, 5 times nichtav Mole. The word Yaakov is spelled Mole with a Vav. Eliyahu chasar, and the name Eliyahu is spelled missing. B'chamisha mekoymos, 5 times, right? So you have 5 Yaakov Moles, 5 Eliyahu chasars. By the way, does anybody know what they are? Okay, so the Maral in the Gorarie says, what are the 5 times? One is here, the Zacharti is Bisi Yaakov. I was hoping you'd know that one at least. And one of them is Im Es Zera Yaakov, Emas. That's 2. And 3, Vishav Yaakov, Vishaked. 4, Hinani Shav Es Shivas Yaakov. And Loi Be'elech Chelak Yaakov. And what are the 5 times Eliyahu is spelled Chaser? Well, one of them we know, Hine Anochi Shaleach Lachem Eis Eliyahu Hanavi, spelled Chaser. And 1, Malach Hashem Diver Be'eliyah. And 1, Vayelech Eliyah, Vayomer Ish Baal Seyar. And 1, Vayan Eliyah, Vayomer Aleim. And 1, Vayomer Eliyah HaTishbi. So 5 times Yaakov is Male, 5 times Eliyahu is Chaser. Why? B'chamisha mekoymos Yaakov natal ois mishmar Eliyahu. 5 times Yaakov took a letter from Eliyahu's name. What did he take it for? A ravain, a guarantee, a security. Sheyavai v'yivaser geulas banav, that Eliyahu would come and give the good tiding that Mashiach is coming. So here Rashi picks up on the fact that there's an extra vav, and Rashi explains that's right. There are 5 times Yaakov Avinu spelled Mole, because 5 times Yaakov took this Eravain from his good pal Eliyahu. That
Why
Eliyahu.
do you have to take 5 times?
So Mr. Greenberg is asking good. Why do you have to take 5 times? Why isn't 1 time good enough? If he wants a guarantee, if you want a security, you only need 1 security. We only need 1 geula, so you should take 1 vav. Another question is, why the vav? Why the vav? Well, because that's the last letter.
No.
Why not aleph?
You could fit it into Yaakov.
That's what it was, the only letter that fit? I don't know. You mean it wouldn't change the meaning of his name? He wanted to take a letter, but he wasn't ready to change his name. I didn't think of that one. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. Why a vav? Why 5 times? And another question is, why Yaakov? Only Yaakov wants a security. Why not Abraham? Why not Yitzchak? Now, what is, in general, is the meaning that a letter of his name was taken out? How could you lose a letter? How could you lose a letter in your name? Let's say instead of calling you Mr. Greenberg, I called you Mr. Reenberg. Well, I mean, what is that? I can't tamper with your name.
A vav could fit into any place.
Not into Mr. Greenberg. Mr. V. Greenberg? I don't think it fits.
I can spell it that way.
Okay, so what's the meaning that Yaakov Avinu took a vav out of Eliyahu's name? So the Maral explains that a name is something that defines the essence of somebody. The name is not just a convenient way to term something. A name is supposed to define the essence of somebody. What is the essence of Eliyahu Navi? What is his main job? What was he created for? He was created for a specific task. And that task is to be mevaser, the coming of the Geula. So if Eliyahu Navi is not doing that, so in a way, his essence is lacking. He's not fulfilling what he was created for. His name is missing. That's the meaning that Yaakov took out a letter in his name. Says Maral, look at number 3. V'tam ha-midrash hazeh, in the second paragraph. Remez l'cha, it's an allusion. Ki Eliyahu loy nivra rak sheyigal es Yisrael. Eliyahu was created only to redeem Klal Yisrael. Uledavar zeh oimed. And for this, Eliyahu was created. Umikivan shu oimed lazeh, since he's created for this. V'lo haya zeh adayin, and it didn't happen. Lefikach natal oismei oisiyos of Shemai Eliyahu. Therefore, a letter from his name was taken le'eravain as a guarantee by Yaakov. In other words, Eliyahu, your name is missing because your entire essence is missing. You're not fulfilling that which you were created for. Okay. Another illustration, Rabbi say, of this phenomenon that Eliyahu has a vav that is missing is in Parshas Pinchas, in Parak Chaf Hey, Pasuk Yud Beis. It says, Hineni noisein lai esrisi shalom. So the word, one of those words is missing a vav. Which word?
Shalom is cut.
No, it's a vav. It's not missing.
Oh, okay. Davar acher, this is about a term. Why is it a vav ketia? Why is it a vav ketia?
Where are you? I lost you.
In number 4, the Baal Turim says, Vav ketia ki Pinchas hu Eliyahu v'chein Eliyahu ksiv chasar vav v'Yaakov malei vav shenato vav me'Eliyahu l'mashkoin at sheyavai ima Mashiach v'yigal zbanav v'zehu Yogel Yaakov Yismach Yisrael. The word Yismach is Rashi Tevois Mashiach. When will it be Mashiach? When it's Yogel Yaakov. When Yaakov will be happy. When will Yaakov be happy? He'll be happy when he doesn't have to keep that vav. It's not easy to lug around a missing vav. I just want to remind everyone, all phones must be in the off position. Okay? Well, Yaakov will be happy. When will Yaakov be happy? When the vav is eliminated. When will the vav be eliminated? Yismach. When Mashiach comes. So this is another reason why the vav is katia. Why is the vav katia? Why in Bris Yisham is a katia? Because Eliyahu very often is missing the vav. So, back to our questions. And these questions are enunciated in the Sefer Likutei Mamorim Tavshin Ayin. We have it over here. And question number 1. Why of all the 3 avos is Yaakov the one taking the vav? Why not Avraham? Why not Yitzchak? So Mr. Greener said, well, if the reason he took a vav is because the vav doesn't change his name. Only in Yaakov it won't change the name. In Avraham and Yitzchak it will change the name. They weren't ready to change the name. So, okay? But, again, what is the deeper meaning of why Dafka Yaakov? And why did he Dafka take the vav of Eliyahu?
He took it as a guarantor.
As a security. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara in Psachim on Daf Pechas. V'amar Rabbi Lazar. Mai dichsev. V'holchu amim rabim. Many nations will go v'amru and they'll say l'chu v'nale el har Hashem. Let us go up to the mountain of God. El beis Elokei Yaakov, to the house of the God of Yaakov. Elokei Yaakov, the Beis Midrash is Beis Midrash of the God of Yaakov. Eloi Elokei Avram Yitzchak. Not like Avraham that called the Beis Hamikdash Har. When did Avraham call it a Har Asher Yeomer Hayoim Behar Hashem Yeroah? So Avraham called it a Har. Yitzchak v'loi ki Yitzchak shekasav by Sadeh vayetze Yitzchak lasuach be Sadeh. Ella like Yaakov who called it Bayis. So the Beis Hamikdash is called a Bayis. Now, the Sfarim write, the third Beis Hamikdash is called the house of Jacob. The first one then would be more connected to Abraham. The second one, Yitzchak. The third Beis Hamikdash, Yaakov. So therefore, if the third Beis Hamikdash is the house of Yaakov, now we understand a little bit more why it is Yaakov Avinu who is more interested in becoming a third Beis Hamikdash. After all, this is his Mikdash. This is a Mikdash associated with his name. And therefore, perhaps that is why he is the one who wants to take the security from Eliyahu Hanavi. By the way, we know there's a pasuk in Tanakh, Kimei tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim Arenu Nifla'os. The way I took you out of Mitzrayim, I will again show you wonders. And we've explained that Yetzias Mitzrayim was the prototype of the Geula Shalema. It was the pre-enactment. It was the Masei Avos Siman Labanim of the final redemption. If that is the case, then just like Yetzias Mitzrayim, when Hashem took us out of Egypt, to which one of the Avos did Hashem show Yetzias Mitzrayim? Yaakov, like the pasuk says, "Vayar Yisrael es hayod hagdoil asher asa Hashem b'Mitzrayim." Says the Zohar HaKadosh, "Vayar Yisrael Saba." Yaakov Avinu was shown the Geula, so too the final redemption will be shown to Yaakov Avinu, and therefore he is most interested in the coming of the third temple. But now let us get a little bit deeper. Why the Vav, Rabbi Sai, and why 5 times? I know you're bothered by this, and that's why I'm going to tell you a few explanations. Number 1, says the Shlah HaKadosh. Says the Shlah. We know that as long as the Beis Midrash is not built, not only is Eliyahu's name missing, the Rebbe Shalom's name is missing. What? Ki yad al keis ka. What letters is God missing? He's missing the Vav. He's missing the Hey. The case is missing the Aleph. That's why the Vilna Gaon says, Marsha says, that what? Ki bachar Hashem b'tzion, when God selects Tzion, Eva l'moishav lai. What will be moishav? What will be returned? Eva. Eva is the Aleph will go to case, kisei, and the Vav Hey will go to the Yud K, Vav K. So what God's name is missing is the Vav and the K. So Yaakov says to Eliyahu, listen here, you should know that until you come, there's somebody else who's suffering, and that's Rabbi Shalom himself. He's missing a Vav and a Hey. So therefore, you know what I'm going to take from you? I'm going to take your Vav, and you know how many times I'm going to take it? Hey times, to indicate that until you do your job, we're missing a Vav, we're missing a Hey. Says the Shlah HaKadosh in Parshas Boy, V'inei etein toises bir, Rashi kasav and Bechukosai, V'zacharti es b'si Yaakov. 5 times Yaakov said Molei, because Yaakov took the Vav from Eliyahu 5 times. Why 5 times? It's a remiss to the Vav and the Hey of Hashem's name. And since Yaakov is the Markava of the Yud K Vav K, therefore he took as a mashkan from Eliyahu 5 times Vav, that 5, that Hey and that Vav will be shown and will be illuminated, will be revealed, la'asad lavai. Okay. Let's take this a little bit further. There's a pasuk in Va'era. V'samti fidus bein ami uvein amecha lemachar yihiyeh ha'ois hazeh. Tomorrow will be the sign. Lemachar yihiyeh ha'ois hazeh. Like in Slichos, lemachar yihiyeh ha'ois hazeh. It's actually a pasuk in Chumash. And if you look at the word pedus, or more correctly, fidus, why is it fidus?
Because there's a hey before it in the year, so you don't have a dot in the following letter, and you have an aleph.
Oh, right. It's v'samti with the yud, right? Fidus. And we know when a vowel precedes a beged kefes letter, as long as there's no melech, a trop, so then it will drop the dagesh. But the word fidus, says about Laturim, appears 3 times in our Messiah. 1 is here, and 2 other times it says pedus, but it says male pedus. Pedus shalach liamoy male. Veharbe imoy pedus. Why is this time pedus spelled without a vav, and the other time 2 times it says with a vav? Kizel lohaya pedus shalem. Yitzias Mitzrayim was not a complete redemption. Why? It's only elamim neharav. Tomorrow there'll be a pedus because there'll be animals for you and not for us, so that's like a temporary reprieve for the Jewish people. Avo la'asid, but la'asid lavai, harbei imay pedus. There'll be a lot of redemption via gula shlema. So in other words, when geula is lacking, you're missing what letter? Vav. When geula is present, what letter do you have? Vav. In fact, Rabbi Mordechai says, the Gulas Mitzrayim was not complete because it was a Gula that had afterward bondage. We had to go into 4 exiles. But the Agula Hasida, there's no Shibit after it. It will be Tshuas Olamim. Therefore, by the Gula Hasida, it says Pedus Male with a Vav. Says the Shlah HaKadosh, I heard from the Darshanim, the good ones, that they say a remez. V'samti fidus bein ami uvein amecha. Tomorrow by Arav you're going to have pedus, but it's going to be missing a vav. It's not going to be a complete geula. But lemachar yesh machar la'achar zman. Tomorrow in the future in the geula asida, ha'is hazeh. Then you'll have the extra vav. You'll have the geula shlema. That's what the Kahal Kadosh says. Kinei pedus ksiv chaser. V'hayaroi lias mole. Like Rashi says in Eicha. Rashi in Eicha says on the pasuk, Vayelchu v'loi koyach lefnei roidef. Rashi says every time it says roidef in Tanakh, roidef is spelled mole with a vav. It's spelled chaser without a vav. Every roidef in Tanakh is spelled chaser without a vav, except for the roidef by the Churban. It says Vayelchu v'loi koyach lefnei roidef. Why is that roidef spelled mole? Because the goyim in times of the Churban, they ran after us mole. They didn't hold back. And therefore, there's a piyut. The piyut says like this: Mole rudafti v'chasra shenas geulai. Interesting. What does this mean? That mole rudafti, when the goyim ran after me, it was mole. But what was chaser? The geulai is spelled in Yeshaya. Shenas geulai is spelled chaser. Says the Shla. Hey, why is fidus spelled chaser? The answer is because Yetzias Mitzrayim was chaser. They're going to be galus afterwards. But you want to know when the galus will be, when the geula will be complete. You want to know when you're going to have complete fidus. You want to know when you're going to have the vav. Lemachar yiyah. Tomorrow you'll have the vav. Yesh machar la'achar zman. So, based on this shlam,
the os is spelled chaser here. Machiyah os hazeh. Should have been Mali with a vav. Os with a vav.
I don't know. I don't know if
this is implication. This os is going to be chaser.
I don't know if os has to be spelled with a vav.
No.
I'm not sure. But Rabbi says, so now we have another appreciation why Yaakov took what letter from Eliyahu? The vav. Because Yaakov Avinu is saying, you have a job. Your job is what? To bring the geula. What ois represents geula? Vav. How do I know that? From the word pedus. When it's a pedus chaser, it's missing the vav. When it's a pedus male, it has the vav. So Yaakov says, Lamachar yeh ha'ois hazeh. You want your vav back? When you bring the vav, I'll give you the vav. When you bring the geula, I'll give you your vav back. Until then, you will remain the man who remains vavless.
By the way, in the Shla, at the very last full line, it says Al Gulach Uziyah Mole Ba'os Hazeh, O spelled with a vav.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that. But I don't know in the Chumash whether it has to be.
Okay, I'm just trying to apply the same kind of logic. And the vav.
When you write your sefer, when you write your sefer, you have to decide.
Shla spelling with an os right after.
I want to add one of my own ideas why Eliyahu, why Yaakov Avinu took the ois vav, and that is. When we just started saying Tachnon again after Pesach, so we know there's a major difference between Ashkenazic Tachnon and Sephardic Tachnon. Ashkenazim, they put their head down. Sephardim do not put their head down. Sephardim say a different chapter of Tehillim than Ashkenazim. Ashkenazim say, I believe, chapter Vav, Parak Vav. We say Hashem al b'yapcha seichecheni, and Sephardim say LeDavid Hashem nafshi esa. Right? Sephardim say for Tachnon, LeDavid Hashem nafshi esa. How do we explain the difference between the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim? Very simple. The Zohar says you have to be very careful when you say Tachnon to say it with Kavanah. If you don't say it with Kavanah, you're in really hot water. So therefore, we're so afraid to say Tachnon because we don't want to get into hot water. So what do Ashkenazim do? They don't say Tachnon ever. We never say Tachnon. There's not one day a year we say Tachnon. We say a different parak. We don't say the original Tachnon LeDavid Hashem nafshi esa. We're too afraid to say it. Sephardim say no, we could say it. We won't say it the right way. We won't put our head down. But neither Ashkenazim or Sephardim say Tachnon correctly. Why? We're afraid of the oynish of the Zohar. If you look in the Sephardic Tachnon, in that parak of Tehillim, could you pass me Tehillim? What chapter is it? The Siddur has a Tehillim. What chapter is the Sephardic Tachnon? LeDavid Hashem nafshi esa. In that parak, all the oisais appear. Except for one.
Okay.
The Vav. You don't have a Vav.
Spelled with, how you spell David?
Okay, so I'll tell you what I mean. Do you...
25.
Okay. Perek Chaf Hey. LeDavid Elech Hashem Nafshi Esa. It goes by the order of the Aleph base. So when I say there's no Vav, it doesn't mean there's no Vav.
Don't go up to the beginning of a sentence.
Yeah. Eloi Kai B'chava Tachti Alevo Shal Yazu Oivayli. So, Elech Hashem Nafshi Esa Aleph. B'chava Tachti Beis. Gam Kol Kovech Levo Gimel. D'Rachech Hashem Nedalet. Hadricheni Hey. Zechor Achamecha Hashem Achasadach. What happened to the Vav? There's no Vav.
We have the Gula.
Says Maran Bet Yosef, when you say Tachnon, what is the main kavanah of Tachnon? Not when it's going to be over. That's not the main kavanah. The main kavanah of Tachnon is kavanah to be moiser nefesh to Hashem. That you're willing to give up your life to Hashem. It's like you fall on the floor and you offer your soul to Hashem. That's the meaning. LeDavid Hashem Eilecha Nafshi Esa. So you can't have a Vav in it. Because the Vav is the Eitz HaChaim. And the whole purpose of Tachnon is, you're saying to me, Hashem, I'm willing to give up the Eitz HaChaim. I'm willing to give up my life for you. That's the main kavanah of Tachnon. That's why you can't do it fakely. You can't like fake Hashem out. If you're gonna say Tachnon, you gotta really mean it. So the Beis Yosef writes this, that since the purpose of Tachnon is kavanas Mesiras Nefesh, you can't have a Vav. The Vav is the Eitz HaChaim. So it could be also, the Eitz HaChaim represents the time of the future when life will be infinite, when everything will be bliss. It's the time of the Eitz HaChaim. So it could be what Yaakov Avinu is saying to Eliyahu, when you usher in the future time, the time of Yemei HaMashiach, the time of Achros Hayamim, when everyone will eat from the Eitz HaChaim, I give you your Vav back. But until then, we don't have the Eitz HaChaim. Until then, you don't have your Vav either. Okay, that's no extra charge for that one. Okay, but it's not on the sheet. Comes the Mizrahi. Mizrahi, one of the great super commentaries on Rashi. And the Mizrahi says the Vav, I'm not sure why, he doesn't address the Vav, but he wants to know Mr. Greenberg's question. Why 5 times the Vav? Lo yadati tam l'chamisha mekaymos. I don't know why he had to take the Vav 5 times. Ki kfar haya masbik zeh b'makayim echad. It would have been enough if he took it 1 time. V'shema haya zeh, maybe the reason is, what Yaakov Avinu is doing is, when you take an oath, what do you swear by? Swear by the Sefer Torah, by the book. Well, remember in Parshas Behaloischa, there's a pasuk that says a certain word 5 times. There's one pasuk in Behaloischa where it says Bnei Yisrael 5 times. So Rashi says, off an art, why does it say Bnei Yisrael 5 times? To show that Klal Yisrael is chaviv to Hashem like Chamisha Chumshei Torah. So the number 5 corresponds to Chamisha Chumshei Torah. So therefore, says Mizrahi, maybe what Yaakov Avinu did was, he took it 5 times to indicate, I'm serious about this, Eliyahu. I'm taking an oath. Where is he taking an oath? The fact that he took it 5 times. I swear I am not giving your Vav back until you bring the Geula. So again, the Mizrahi is saying that the 5 times of Yaakov taking the Vav corresponds to the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. Well, if you say that, then that allows us to offer the following. Because there's a famous comment of the Harakiah Kadosh, and that is, we have 4 Galusim, and each one of the Galusim were redeemed in the merit of another great personage. And now we are in the final Galus, and the final Galus will only be redeemed in the Zchus of Moshe Rabbeinu. So the first Galus was Zchus Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and the 4th one is Galus. By the way, the Harakiah Kadosh is going l'shitase, because we know there are different positions who Mashiach will be. The position of the Harakiah Kadosh is Mashiach will be none other than Moshe Rabbeinu. The Harakiah Kadosh asked in Vayechi, as far as I know, Moshe Rabbeinu is not from Shevet Yehuda, not Malchus Beis David. He says that's not a problem. V'hamevin yavin. If you understand, you understand, and if you don't understand, you don't understand. What can I do? That's his question, and that's his answer. It's not a problem. He says Moshe Rabbeinu was koilel all of Klal Yisrael, including Shevet Yehuda, and he even brings up proof. He says, "Ma shehaya hu sheyiyah." What was will be. Rashi Tevois Ma She Hu Moshe. What was will be. Like we said earlier, Kimeitzeis Chameos Mitzrayim Arenu Neflais. Yitzias Mitzrayim was a prototype, and therefore he says that's what's taking so long. Why does this Golus last so long? Well, since this Golus will be redeemed from in the Chus of Moshe, and Moshe Rabbeinu's Chus is the Chus HaTorah, so as long as there is Bittul Torah, and Jews are not learning the way they should, and we're slacking off, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I don't want to redeem you. But what we see from here, Rabbi Isai, is that the Geula will come in the merit of Limud HaTorah. And that's why in Vayikra Rabbah, in Parshas Zayin, Ois Gimel, it says, Ein kol hagoliyos halalu miskansois. God will only redeem us b'schus mishnayis. My taima, gam ki yisnu v'goyim. Even if I put you among the goyim, a lashon of masnisen, ata akabtim. Now I'll gather you. By the way, I saw in a sefer Mishnah. This is a side benefit from learning Mishnayis. Mishnah is the gematria Parnasa. Parnasa. Mishnah is the gematria Parnasa. If you learn Mishnayis, it's the zechus for Parnasa. And if Mishnah is a little more, you'll get a little more Parnasa also. It's okay. Okay. No, but he says, he writes it in the Haggadah of Reb Chaim Filaji.
95, right?
Exactly. Parnasa is Parnasa, If you, the Haggadah of Reb Chaim Filaji, he brings this down. Okay. By the way, there's another amazing gematria. This might be one of the all-time great gematrias of Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld was unbelievable gematrias. I'll tell you one of them. If you count all the words in Kabbalah Shabbos, you get 702. Big gematria, Shabbos.
Did you check it out?
Not yet. If you count all the words in Kabbalah Shabbos, you get 700, starting from where you need to start from and ending where you need to end. You get 702 the gematria Shabbos. Okay? So here's another gematria of Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. There's a pasuk on the we learn it by the Shiva de Nechemta. We say Tzihiyim b'mishpati padeh. Right? I think this is in the Gimel de Tiyufta. In the Gimel de Paranusa. Tzihiyim b'mishpati padeh v'shaveha b'tztaka. So we say Tzihiyim b'mishpati padeh b'gematria Talmud Yerushalmi v'shaveha b'tztaka Talmud Bavli. So you want to know what brings the Geula? Tzion, that's Yushalmi. Tzion, the Mishpati Padeh, that's Talmud Yushalmi. Vishaveha, Bitzdaka, Talmud Bavli. So we see the Geula will come in the Zchus HaTorah. Moshe will be the Goyal. Moshe is the Zchus HaTorah. That's what's taking so long. Ein HaGolias Miskansois, Ela B'Zchus HaMishnayis. And they told the Brisker Rav this gematria. Brisker Rav, now he takes out a pen. He says, does it work out? Okay, so you're not the only one. So the Brisker Rav takes out a pen.
That's where it comes from.
There you go. That must be right. So it says Brisker Rav, look, I'm not in the gematria business, but it's impossible anyone could come up with this gematria unless they have Ruach HaKodesh. Tziyam b'mishpati padeh v'shaveha b'tzedakah. So if you want to know what will bring the Geula and what's holding back the Geula, it's Talmud Torah. Well, says the Kahal Kadosh, even if you looked at the Mishkan, you had on the bottom level 5 Urios and 5 Urios, and on the top level 5 Urios and 6 Urios, right? You knew that? So what does that correspond to? The 5 and the 5 are connected to Luchos, which were 5 and 5, and then on the top of that you had 5 Urios and 6 Urios. 5 is Chamishe Chumshe Torah, and the 6 is Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. In fact, even if you look in the Targum Yonis Ben Uziel, when he talks about the 11 Yiriyos, Usulafif, Yas, Chamesh Yireyan L'chayid, you should put the 5 Yiriyos separately, Kol Kavel Chamsha Sifrei Araisa, corresponding to the 5 books of Moses, V'Yas Sheish Yireyan L'chayid, and the 6 Yiriyos alone, corresponding to what? Kol Kavel Shir Sidrei Masnisa, so again, we see 5 corresponds to Chamisha Chamshei Torah, 6 corresponds to Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Says the Sefer Likutei Mamorim. Then we can understand. Yaakov Avinu says, Eliyahu Navi, you have one mission in this world, to bring the Geula, and that will only happen. Yaakov Avinu says, when what? When Klal Yisrael is proficient in the hay and in the Vav, in the Chamisha Chamshei Torah, in the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, and therefore Yaakov Avinu takes the Vav, the Iker is the Vav, because Ein HaGolios Miskan says Elo B'schus Mishnayis, but he takes it 5 times, a remez to the hay, the Chamisha Chamshei Torah, that as a guarantee, as a security, that when the time comes that Klal Yisrael reaches the Madrega to be proficient in the hay, be proficient in the Vav, Yaakov Avinu will return to Eliyahu his 5 Vavs, and Eliyahu will give us the Besura of the coming of Mashiach. Yagel Yaakov, when will Yaakov be happy? Yismach, when Mashiach comes. Yisrael, when the Mashiach comes. B'mheira v'yameinu. Have a good Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.